financial hardship due to these delays.
I think it's rather counterproductive. It goes against security. You can't, I mean, just yourself. I mean, for example, you walk through town.
Also coming up, security professional describes as grave risk directive for private security officers to wear common uniform, and later, Minister of Trades and Industry justifies airline seeking to control pricing of cement in the country, following calls by stakeholders to have the airline thrown out of Parliament. There are details of these and other stories coming up shortly. Stay with us.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 1035 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Thank you for choosing us this afternoon. We start off in the Central region, where the National Democratic Congress has withdrawn the candidature of Nurain Shaibu Mijima to represent the party in the Ascent Central constituency. The embattled candidate has been accused of engaging in anti-party conduct and immoral acts. Mr. Mijima has also been suspended from the party. Here are excerpts of the statement signed by the Central Regional Secretary of the party, Gabriel Nikome Adams.
Following the interrogation and deliberations on the report of immoral act and anti-party conduct received by AFEC against the Ascent Central parliamentary candidate Nurain Shaibu Mijima at the AFEC meeting held on Tuesday, 25th June 2024, the Regional Functional Executive Committee, after conducting its preliminary investigation and examining the matter minutely and exhaustively, further consulted key stakeholders in the region and the leadership of the party at the national level, resolved that Nurain Shaibu Mijima be withdrawn as the 2024 Ascent Central parliamentary candidate of the NDC with immediate effect. Furthermore, AFEC has suspended Nurain Shaibu Mijima forthwith for 6 months and has referred the matter to the Regional Disciplinary Committee. Also, the party membership of Nurain Shaibu Mijima stands suspended until the final determination of his case by the Regional Disciplinary Committee.
There are efforts to reach the organizer of the NDC in that region, but unfortunately the lines have been messing up. As and when we do get that conversation, we'll bring it on. Away from that, a physical security professional, Robert Alexander Budulabi, is calling for a relook for a directive for all private security officers to wear a common uniform. It follows a recent directive from the Interior Ministry cautioning against the use of unapproved uniforms by private security organizations, following the arrest of 2 individuals for breaching the regulation. Per the regulation, private security personnel are to wear white shirts with khaki trousers, cream shirts with brown khaki trousers, mauve shirts with maroon trousers, and yellow shirts with reflectors over brown khaki trousers. Robert Alexander Budulabi tells Joshua Kojo Mensah on GA Today that the directive is counterproductive considering the growing number of private security firms.
About this instruction from Interior and the IGP about all security companies wearing the same uniform. Some of us don't think it's a well thought out thing, because, when the companies had their own uniforms, you could straight away identify this is company A or company B or company C. But now you've put all of them together. So in case of crime, you can't really differentiate it is, yes. And
particular company.
Yes. And even when you even look at it, I mean, I'm sure those in charge might not want to agree with you. When you look at it technically by the act, if you look at it, that instruction is not it's not covered by that act. The IGP is only supposed to approve. So, for example, the law says that if you want to start a security company, take a sample of your uniform to the IGP for him to look at it, so that if it doesn't bear semblance to the armed forces, the police, and the prison service, and now we even have more institutions. So we have immigration, all those things, so that part also has to be looked at. If it doesn't bear any semblance, then he gives approval.
Okay.
So some of us are asking, so where is it in the law that says that you
all
can
should be
prescribe?
Right.
Because I believe there is I'm not a lawyer, but I think there's a difference between approve and prescribe, you know. So that is one of the challenges that industry watchers or players are seeing, that can it be looked at? You know, those are some of the challenges. I mean, we need a holistic approach. Stakeholders, interior, police, APSOL, other private people, private security organizations will say, look, what best can we do? Because when you look at the laws in South Africa, Kenya, and UK, they are beautiful. And they contribute to the economy. That conversation should be had. Okay. There should be that conversation. Okay. And they should give us reasons why. I believe that the reasons for putting us was just simplistic, you know, to avoid the detailed work of regulatory, you know, bring and check and all those things. So it's okay, everybody wear this blanket instruction, which I think it's rather counterproductive. It goes against security, you know. You can't, I mean, just yourself, I mean, for example, you walk through town. Can you really identify the security companies? You can't really, you just see the same uniform, ash, white, move, this, you know, brown, white, you know. So that is a conversation I believe that the industry and the regulators should sit down and have. Yeah.
Okay.
On the issue of private security personnel being armed, Robert Alexander Budulabi noted that with the right training, some groups of security personnel can be allowed to carry firearms.
Anybody in that, maybe cash in transit, bullion, you should have this training, this specific training for these people. Maybe you get people from a certain background, ex-soldiers, ex-police, ex-security, they can be trained, because they've already been trained to handle firearms in the mines and all those things. And that would even reduce the pressure on the Ghana Police Service if all these problems where they're having, you go to the banks almost, we have policemen all over the place. You go to the mines and military and those countries. But if you can have that, produce so in it, a specialist training for, let's say, armed, it's not every place. But certain high-risk industries, it can be, because I believe the average person is quite intelligent to be trained to handle well. But then it all boils down to regulations, the procedures and stuff that have to be done. So it's a conversation that we can decide to look at, whether we should arm them. Now the law says no, we don't arm them, but it is what it is now. But going along in the future, I think we can look at it. Okay. It would help, because the private security industry is supposed to augment or help the regular law enforcement, the police services. I mean, that's what I said earlier. Look at our numbers. The police can't, and they will never. It will never. South Africa, the numbers are huge. In Kenya, it's huge. The public services will never, because actually even cutting down. So no matter the number of people you recruit, it will never up to the numbers of the private security. So we should rather look at regulating them properly so that they become helpers. Okay. Yes, for our industry.
Let's head to the quarters of the ruling New Patriotic Party, as the majority leader, Alexander Apenyomarkin, has cautioned his colleague MPs against negative commentary on the selection of Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh as running mate. Some majority MPs, prominent among them is that of Asante Achim North, Andy Appiah-Kubi, have shut down the choice of Napo as running mate. Addressing the media, Alexander Apenyomarkin urged his colleagues to be mindful of the sensitive nature of the matter, arguing the party is yet to finalize the matter.
We should all respect party rules and understand that the times we are in are very sensitive times. We have an election just ahead of us, and we should be mindful of how we express certain views in the public space. Yes, we've all heard matters regarding our ticket, but no decision has been made yet. So I would want to encourage colleague members of parliament that we are in this together. There is no perfect person in this world. The language we use, it may not be helpful. So that is all my advice. Let us please be measured in the language we use. The flag bearer of the party has the confidence of the party. And I believe that he would use the structures of the party to come up with certain decisions that he has for us. So let us wait and at least respect the leadership of the party. We should not go out of our way to denigrate ourselves. We should not go out of our way to describe ourselves in a manner that will be unacceptable.
Now, the government's Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP program was meant to ensure that vulnerable groups such as orphaned children, persons with severe disability, and elderly persons who are 65 years and above receive cash support every other month for upkeep. However, since February 2024, these cash payments have not been made. In the following report, GH1 News' Nadima Umar Uthman tells the story of a single household facing financial hardship due to these delays and its impact on care for their 32-year-old son with severe disabilities.
At Abokobi, a suburb in the Greater Accra region, 59-year-old Mary Bojo readies her 32-year-old son Odate for the day. Due to the severity of his disabilities, Odate relies solely on his mother for everything, making it difficult for Mary to work in order to cater for the family. To help ease her struggles, Odate was put on the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program 7 years ago.
I was previously selling Gary to sustain my family, but 7 years ago, some people came to town to write the names of people with sick children. They started sending us money every 2 to 3 months.
4 years into the program, Mary managed to put up a small provision shop through the cash grant of 120 cedis she receives every 2 months.
I am happy whenever the money comes in because we are able to use it for a number of things. Though the money is not enough, I am able to manage.
Despite the reliance on these bi-monthly cash grants, Mary, like other LEAP beneficiaries within the Ga East Enclave, laments the lack of consistency with the payments. Since February 2024, no payments have been disbursed. Mariama Isa is a coordinator for the beneficiaries around Abokobi and says the situation is not peculiar to the area alone.
Beneficiary na me coordinate omo. Sometimes in
June 2023, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection announced plans of a 100% nationwide increment in the grant to reflect the worsening global socio-economic crisis. But Mariama says the joy of beneficiaries was short-lived.
I have been in touch with other beneficiaries and the situation is the same. There is so much pressure on us as coordinators because the beneficiaries keep calling me to find out if the money has been distributed. They are always disappointed with the response. I am a beneficiary myself. So believe me when I tell you that these delays are taking a huge toll.
Civil society organizations have consistently lamented on the effects the delays in payments is having on these vulnerable groups. Dr. Efia Tutuwaa Danso, who is the former director of the Institute of Local Government Studies, says any delay in payments can spell doom for many households relying on the LEAP grants. While beneficiaries anxiously await the next payment, Dr. Efia says government must address the inconsistencies that characterizes the program. Data available indicates by the end of 2023, the LEAP program had extended its reach to approximately 350,580 households, benefiting around 1.5 million individuals nationwide.
Still on the LEAP program, the government has announced an upward adjustment in the LEAP grant beneficiaries, and my colleague has joined me in studios, Manuel Bigpo, to help us understand what the government release says. Manuel, thank you so much for your time.
Well, so the press release says government has increased it, and this is the increment. It says with immediate effect, the cash grant provided to households enrolled on the LEAP program will see 100% increase, doubling of, that means they are doubling their amount from 20 2023. So in 2023, just to tell you how much they were paying. So in 2023, these are the figures. A household that has just one person was receiving 64 cedis. Two-member households were entitled to 76 cedis, and three-member household 88 cedis, and the highest, which is four-member household, were entitled to 106 cedis. Now, this is the latest increment because it's 100%. So with immediate effect, the cash grants provided to household enrolled on to the LEAP program will see 100% increment. Now, this is the current rate, Vanessa. One-member household from the next disbursement will receive 128 cedis. Also, two-member household will receive 150 cedis, and 304 cedis will be given to three-member households. Those who are more, that is the 300 households, will now receive an upward increment. They used to receive 176 cedis. Now they will be entitled to 352 cedis. So these are the latest increments from government.
Right. Thank you so much, Manuel Bikpo, with those details there. Away from that, let's head to the quarters of the judiciary this afternoon as the third accused person in the ongoing ambulance trial, Richard Jakpa, says he was healthy when the Attorney General, Godfred Yeboadame, was impressing upon him to secure an excused duty. According to him, at the time he was being coerced by the Attorney General and asked to get the medical excused duty, he was fit as a fiddle, and he couldn't have lied to the court. Speaking to EIB Network's legal affairs correspondent Mutala Inusa after his cross-examination by the Attorney General, Mr. Jakpa said the crime against the state has no expiration date.
In fact, it's a diversionary tactics employed by the Attorney General trying to discredit my credibility because he had engaged himself in criminal conduct and trying to coerce me to commit a crime by implicating Honorable Atuforsen and answering questions to make his case good in court, and also procure a dubious fake excuse duty to deceive the court.
You say you were as fit as fiddle?
Yes, to deceive the court. And as at the time he was impressing upon me to procure a fake excuse duty to deceive the judge and the court so he could travel, I was as fit as a fiddle. So I couldn't lie to the court. So I refused.
Why didn't you go to the police station and make them?
Oh, that is yet to be done because the evidence is still there. And I will wish to remind you, crime against the state has no expiry date. So at any time of my convenience, I can go and lodge the complaint.
The businessman who also spoke about his face-to-face encounter with the Attorney General for the first time since making the allegations against him says he was surprisingly charged on a non-existent charge.
All that matters to him is the end. And he doesn't really care how he achieves it. Whose image he destroys along the way. He doesn't really care.
He made the point that because he rejected your request for a plea bargain or for you to be used as a prosecution witness, that is why you are doing all these.
That cannot be. The Attorney General had already promised me that I was going to go off at the submission of no case.
You believe him at the point?
Just hold on. Because to him, I was just a mere agent. But I was being used because as a collateral damage. Because in political trial, there must be a collateral damage. Some people must be sacrificed, and that I should know that. And it's Atuforsen they are going for. So I will go off at the submission of no case. But unfortunately, at the submission of no case ruling, I was asked to open my defense. And even the most amazing aspect of it all is that I was asked to open my defense on a faulty charge, on a non-existent charge. A charge that the Attorney General had not charged me on. But then the court said in his ruling that a prima facie case had been found on me on a different charge that I was not charged on. I have not pleaded guilty to it. I don't even know about that charge. So they didn't establish a prima facie case on the charge that Attorney General charged me on, but rather on a non-existent charge that I didn't plead to. But be as it may, we are at the Court of Appeal on it, on that particular one. And the proceeding at the High Court is still ongoing. That one is passed. We will deal with it at the Appeal Court.
Away from the judiciary, now the government has assured residents whose properties are affected by the ongoing dualization of the Kaswa-Winneba stretch of the Accra-Cape Coast Highway of compensation. Traditional leaders in the affected communities had lamented delay in payment of compensations during a visit by the Minority Caucus of the Roads and Transport Committee. Our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Ibrahim Alassan has the details.
The community members affected by the dualization of the Kasua-Winneba Road had expressed concerns about delays in payment of their compensation. Speaking to the matter upon the visit by the Roads and Transport Committee, the officials of the Ghana Highway Authority as well as the Ministry of Roads and Highways indicated that some affected residents have already been paid their compensation since 2006. However, much time has elapsed, and if there are any new claimants of compensation, an evaluation will be done and compensation be paid.
We pray that there will not be any encumbrances where people frustrate the process to stall the project and even to extend the completion date. So that is why we are hoping, and I'm happy that you have assured that GP Ghana Highways Authority has a data, and let's fast track and see those people that have come up claiming that they have to be compensated, whether they are within the right of way or they are outside the right of way. We'll look at it and quickly we can pave way for the contractor to also have his peace of mind. But so far, so
with our reservation, when we took the reservation, very few, structures, most of them kiosks and containers have sprung up. That is natural. But if you look largely at the major properties, they have complied, and it's kudos to the law-abiding citizens along this carriageway that will continue to engage them and for them to protect the reservation, because if you want more electricity, you want more roads, we should have the space to put them. So they have done very well.
The committee also visited the almighty Otrekon Bridge, which weeks ago got flooded, leaving water running into several homes within the enclave. Now, the contractor is still struggling to find a lid to this particular problem. He solicited for assistance from the Roads and Highways Ministry to ensure that the new bridge that is under construction is done and is done on time to contain the huge volumes of water running under the old bridge at Otrekon.
Now, the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has called on the Muslim community to remain united and preach peace ahead of the 2024 general election. Speaking during a courtesy call to the National Chief Imam, John Dramani Mahama expressed optimism that the NDC will win the presidential and parliamentary elections.
As I said, traditionally every year I come to exchange greetings with my father, the National Chief Imam. I sent him a cow to enjoy the Salah, and so I came to find out how, his Salah had been. Aside from that, recently I heard he was not feeling too well. I'm happy to come and see that he's in very good health, and I want to thank him for the prayers that he has been saying for me, and to ask him to continue to pray for me and my party, the NDC. We know that this year is an election year, and we're praying that God should let us conduct this election peacefully, without any disturbances, without any violence. And may Ghana continue to prosper and be peaceful before, during, and after the election. And may my party, the NDC, win both the presidential.
Let's do sports now, and I've been joined in the studios by my colleague Jones Aji with the very latest in sports. Jones, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Right, so club president of Ghana Premier League champion Samatex FC, Dr. Richard Dua, says 500,000 cedis prize money on the GPL isn't enough to compete at the CAF Champions League, and is urging corporate bodies to come on board to support his team. Now, the Timber Giants won the Ghana Premier League earlier this month and have been confirmed that they will take part in the CAF Champions League.
on a fundraising tour at the moment. Definitely, like you said, we can't survive with this price money. It can't even pay our bills. It can't even pay our hotel bills. We are representing Ghana in Africa, and I expect all corporate bodies, all individuals, philanthropists, whoever, to come to our aid and help us push the agenda so that in the nearest future, our slots in Africa can be increased. Because when we do well, it affects automatically everybody in the football family. Exactly.
Right, so that was club president of Samatex FC, Dr. Richard Tutuwaa Danso. Now, president of Ghana Athletics, Bawa Fuseini, who led Ghana's contingent of athletes to the African Athletics Championship in Douala, Cameroon, has bemoaned the poor organization by the organizers at the championship, which saw 18 athletes from Ghana compete. Though Ghana won 2 gold medals, none of the athletes could secure qualification to the Olympics via the championship.
The conditions were very tough. It was raining every day, and the organization wasn't the best. These athletes that we took are fairly young. Majority of them, this was their first appearance at that level. So they did very well.
Now, so Mohamed Kudus and Inaki Williams will battle for Player of the Year at the Ghana Football Awards that will be held tomorrow at the Accra International Conference Center Dome. And Williams and Kudus will face off competition from fellow Black Stars teammates Osman Bukari, Abdul Fattah Ishahaku. And then the award scheme would recognize 22 male and female Ghanaian and African players who have been exceptional in the past year. Now, finally, Wafa are just 1 game away from returning to the Division 1 League after topping their group and qualifying for the final in the Volta Regional Division 2 Middle League going on in Ho. The Academy Boys beat Ceylon FC 3-0 to go top of Group B and await either Inter Allies or Petro Diamond, who meet later today at 2 p.m. Inter Allies, meanwhile, need just a draw to qualify and set up an all-former Premier League size final at the Ho Sports Stadium. There are more updates on sports issues on the game at GH1 TV and then on Star 102.5 FM. That's all for sports. My name is Jones Aji.
Right, Jones, before you leave, what's happening with the ongoing Euro Championship?
I mean, it has been full of surprises and exciting, and teams that we've expected to win have not actually won, and the boys are complaining. The investors are complaining, and teams have been disappointing them a lot.
I mean, but which team have you topped to be impressing?
I mean, so before the tournament started, I was looking at the likes of Portugal, but then they lost their game the last time to Georgia. Georgia, a very small side, and for now, I want to put my money on Germany or Austria.
Why?
I mean, they've shown in the group stages that they can actually do well, and then they've impressed me a lot. I mean, with all the statistics, it shows that they are doing very well. So we'll talk about the Euros as well on the game at 1 p.m.
So Germany, right. Thank you so much, Jones, for those updates there. Away from sports, the Minister of Trades and Industry, Katie Hammond, has justified an ally seeking to control the pricing of cement in the country following calls by the Cement Manufacturers and the Importers and Exporters Association to have the LI, which was introduced by the Trades Minister, thrown out of Parliament. Katie Hammond believes that the LI, when passed by the legislature, would ensure that customers are not fleeced. Here is Katie Hammond addressing the press in Parliament.
This guy decided to go to Kenya. They don't tell me, even though I'm the senior prophet in the house. They don't tell me. I'm just asking him what happened. You should have been there to hear the account that he gave me in the waiting room. And that's why sometimes I wonder when I hear some of our people talk about the youth not being angry enough and all sort of things that they talk about. I get worried for those of you who were either too young or were not born before 1979. I really think that you should be reading and studying the history of Ghana to understand what happened during a particular period that we talk about. This whole business, we're not angry enough. We're not angry enough. All right, destroy everything. There is hardship in the system. It's not disputed. So what? Destroy, add to the hardship, and come back to build? What's going on? We're there.
You just heard Katie Hammond, who is the Minister of Trades and Industry. That is how we wrap up on this edition of Starr Midday News. For more news updates, log on to starfm.com.gh. I am Tutuwaa Danso. Have a good afternoon.